Good, sir. Good, sir.
Yes, sir.
Uh, I think we should start to admit the participants.
Okay. So I will lift up the waiting room.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good, sir. Good, sir.
Yes, sir.
Saib has joined. Please make him host.
Yeah. Um, Hold, madam. Actually.
अच्छा यही लिखा है। Good morning, everyone, all the participants. We are glad that you have been connected. We are waiting for the resource person to join.
Hello, ma'am. She has joined. So our keynote speaker also joined.
Okay. Okay, so we'll soon begin. So shall I start?
Yes, madam. Can
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A very good morning to everyone in India. I know it's late evening in USA. I am Dr. Leena Mishram. On behalf of Mahatma Phule College, I welcome you all in this international e-conference. I take the opportunity to welcome you all for the live international multidisciplinary conference on contemporary trends in humanities, commerce, and library science, jointly organized by Faculty of Humanities, Commerce, and Knowledge Resource Center in association with IQAC. Before we start, I would like to take a few moments to welcome our esteemed guests for the day. It's an absolute privilege to welcome today's resource person, Honorable Professor Loida Garcia Febo, Information Coordinator, served on the governing body of the International Federation of Library Association, Management of Library Association Section, ex-president, American Library Association, Chicago, USA. I welcome today's keynote speaker, Honorable Professor Audrey Holt, Professor of English, co-chair of the LSA Curriculum Committee, Santa Fe College, Florida, USA. I take the privilege in welcoming Honorable Professor Dr. Rajnish Ratna from Gedu College of Business Studies, Bhutan. I am extremely happy to welcome Honorable Professor Dr. Ramesh Gaur, sir, Dean, Academician and Head, Kalanidhi Division, New Delhi, India. I welcome Honorable Principal Dr. Ganesh Thakur, sir, who has been taken initiative and has been instrumental in organizing the series of webinar throughout the lockdown and pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. I must welcome Vice Principal Dr. Rajaram Patil, sir, Head of Geography Department, Vice Principal Dr. N.R. Madvi, sir, Head of Economic Department, Vice Principal A.G. Rokde sir, Head of Zoology Department. They have been very supportive throughout the organization of the webinar. I welcome Mr. Sunil Avchitte sir, convener of the webinar, librarian, Knowledge Resource Center. Mr. Sopan Bove sir, organizing secretary and IQAC coordinator, who has been the key person in helping throughout the design and taken this conference to the state that it has seen the reality of the day. A very warm welcome to all the dignitaries, eminent guests, HODs, professors, faculty members of different streams, research scholars, students of various departments gathered from diverse places all over the world to the live webinar on the International Multidisciplinary Conference on Contemporary Trends in Humanities, Commerce and Library Science 2022. This conference is an opportunity to share knowledge and experience in diverse subjects. It is also a deliberate effort to provide an opportunity to academicians, budding scientists, research scholars from various disciplines to interact and present their research work in front of the international scholars and stimulate research practice in their respective disciplines. We have with us Honorable Principal Dr. Ganesh Thakur sir, ex-secretary of Rayat Shikshan Sanstha, a visionary, a leader, an excellent administrator, and a dynamic personality. Under sir's leadership, our college is awarded with Best College Award by University of Mumbai, accredited by NAC at A grade. Principal sir has also awarded with Best Principal Award by University of Mumbai. Sir, your endless guidance and support have proven that you are a leader in true sense. We are blessed to have you, sir, today. I request you, sir, to kindly deliver a welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. At the outset, I pay my tribute to great social reformer and visionary educationist of Maharashtra, Mahatma Jyotiba Phule and Karmavir Bhaurao Patil, for their selfless service to the masses. Dignitaries present online for this international multidisciplinary e-conference, keynote speaker, Honorable Professor Audrey Holt, Santa Fe College, Gainesville, Florida, USA. Resource person, Professor Loida Garcia Febo, Information Coordinator, IFLA Management of Library Association, Chicago, USA. Professor Dr. Rajnish Ratna, Gedu College of Business Studies, Chukha, Bhutan. Professor Dr. Ramesh Gaur, Dean and Head, Kalanidhi Division, IGNCA, New Delhi, India. All the participants across the world, principals and directors of different institutes, vice principals of our college, Dr. Rajaram Patil, Dr. Naresh Madvi, Mr. Anil Rokde, organizing secretary and coordinator of internal quality assurance cell, Mr. Sopan Bove, convener and librarian of Knowledge Resource Center, Mr. Sunil Avchitte, members of advisory and organizing committee, head department of humanities and commerce, all the participants from different states of India, faculty members, research scholars, and dear students. I am extremely delighted to welcome you all on behalf of Mahatma Phule Arts, Science and Commerce College, Panvel for this international multidisciplinary e-conference jointly organized by Department of Humanities, Commerce and Knowledge Resource Center in association with IQAC on the topic Contemporary Trends in Humanities, Commerce and Library Science. Friends, our college is affiliated to University of Mumbai and is run by Rayat Shikshan Sanstha, which is one of the largest educational institute in Asia. Our parent institution basically works for the overall development of lower strata of the society to uplift their educational standard. Our founder, Bhaurao Paigonda Patil, was honored with Padma Bhushan Award from central government and Doctor of Letters degree from Pune University for his outstanding contribution in the field of education. Our college was established in 1970 with a vision to provide quality education to all classes of the society. In true sense, we are marching ahead with the same principles to achieve the excellence in the field of higher education. Our quest for excellence is reflected through some of our outstanding achievements in the recent past. A grade in third cycle of NAC accreditation with CGPA score of 3.18, Best College Award from University of Mumbai, Government of Maharashtra successive prizes in Zagar Janivancha Abhiyan project, ISO 9001-2015 certification from International Accreditation Forum, and DBT Star College Grant for Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. It reminds me a famous quotation of Winston Churchill. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity, and the optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. We work on the same line to utilize COVID-19 pandemic for the organization of academic activities. We successfully organized 15 international and national webinars in the previous academic year. Today's International Multidisciplinary E-Conference is the 8th online conference of this academic year. Dear friends, in the 1920, H.G. Wells, with a typical prophetic insight, imagined a word brain, thus anticipating the technological development of 21st century, notably Wikipedia. It is through such creative imaginations of those working in the humanities that innovations and scientific progress are often made possible. Today, interactivity is increasingly important to our understanding and engagement with literature, poetry, and performativity of all sorts. The emergent trends in the humanities are thus intrinsically related to an interdisciplinarity that allows science and technology to benefit from the creativity of art subjects. The availability and deployment of knowledge from other disciplines has deepened our understanding of what a more multifaceted approach to research in all disciplines can offer. We are now witnessing a real growth in areas such as medical humanities and digital humanities, which bring together knowledge from areas as diverse as medical research and computer technologies, respectively, to bear upon traditional subject areas such as English and history. This emergent juxtaposition of hitherto unrelated disciplines is beginning to have a bearing upon how art subjects can work for the benefit of humanity as a whole. Working with new and emergent technologies, the humanities are an integral part of the digital future. Embracing digital technologies, the humanities are now exploring ways in which our culture, literature, history, languages, and art can be electronically stored and digitally curated. This will have a huge implications for the preservation of the infera of our culture for the future generations. Technology rules the world. With time and advancement, it makes the business sector adopt the changes to stay ahead in the throat-cut competitive world. E-commerce technology trends have a significant impact on online shopping. The number of smartphone users for online shopping has crossed more than half of the world population. The desktop still is the primary method for customers for their e-commerce shopping. However, it won't last long, as global trends in the e-commerce sector disclose that mobile devices will be the primary technology utilized to find out, conduct research, and buy goods or services. Only optimizing e-commerce business for mobiles isn't sufficient now. We need to integrate the functionality of a mobile wallet into the business website. Besides, we should think about the launch of mobile application for online businesses. A user-friendly mobile app is one of the essential technology trends for e-commerce. As the number of online shopping customers is rising, The buyers comprehend the advantages and add the security of using mobile wallet for the payment of online shopping. In the current world, we have a large number of virtual assistants such as Google Voice Search, Amazon Alexa, Cortana, View, Google Home, and Siri. These virtual assistants have been training customers to use their voice for their search on the search engines. With time, voice search will be one of the significant innovation drivers for e-commerce. Automation is playing a pivotal role in the customization of products, public services. For instance, YouTube offers a recommended video playlist as per the behavior of a user. The service gets more customized for the customers with their uses patterns. Several different businesses across the globe are using the same process. ROPO, research online, purchase offline, and ROBO, research online, buy offline, has been a noteworthy trend for the last few years. However, it can't be taken as the evolution of the business world. It can be viewed as the pinnacle of the online shopping technologies of the last decade. The main mission of libraries is to offer equality of access to information for every citizen. There are massive technology developments that are ongoing and underway, which can be great additions to the user's experience at local library. Along with all the technological advancements, people's most basic activities are generating more data than ever. The storage and analysis of the large data sets can be real advantage for librarians as they have the relevant skills and knowledge to make the best use of this massive source of information. With Siri and Alexa available on everyone's devices nowadays, artificial intelligence is no longer a futuristic technology as it is gaining more and more traction in our everyday activities. It can appear that artificial intelligence is a challenge to libraries, but the intelligence is artificial, not human. Libraries can connect people to information and more importantly to other people, whereas artificial intelligence can't. Blockchain technology has been one of the most discussed technologies in the past year as Bitcoin has gained more and more power. Blockchain technology represents a decentralized database that keeps records of pseudo-dynamized digital transactions that are visible to anyone within the network. Therefore, it is a new way to collect and store data. Augmented reality is a hot topic in the technical world, and people are curious about its deployment in various domains from medicines to gaming. So why not implement it in the libraries too and combine digital with reality? Augmented reality's ability to enhance what already exists make it perfect fit for libraries. According to Ida Joyner, writer of the recently published book called Emerging Library Technology, vehicles that can travel between destinations without a human driver can be of high importance for libraries in the future. The small flying devices, remotely controlled, are another trendsetters in science nowadays. The drones can be used for delivery services for the library users who don't have the possibility to go to the library because of disability or because of the long distance to the library. I'm confident that the keynote speaker of the webinar and the resource person will enlighten us with their scholarly talks on the theme of the webinar. I'm really grateful to all the participants and the research scholars for their awesome response by sending 113 research papers to this e-conference organized by our college. Before I conclude, once again, I welcome you all for this international interdisciplinary e-conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your kind words and a brief introduction about the theme of the conference and a warm welcome to our participants. Before we move ahead, I request the participants to kindly mute your mic and camera. And if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to write in the chat box. Your active participation is very important throughout the seminar. We now move to the keynote address. Mr. Sopan Gove, sir, IQAC coordinator of international conference, who has been energetic, enthusiastic throughout the organization of the webinar. I request you, sir, to introduce today's keynote speaker, Professor Audrey Holt. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Good morning, one and all. It is my privilege to introduce the keynote speaker of the present International E-Conference, Honorable Professor Audrey Holt. Professor Holt is associated with English language and literature. Presently, she is working as the co-chair of LAS Curriculum Committee at Santa Fe College, Gainesville, Florida, USA. She completed her graduate school from University of Florida with specialty in early modern studies, Renaissance literature. She also taught at the university while doing her graduate research on Shakespeare as well as her dissertation on the poetry of John Donne. Madam completed her undergraduate from Sylvania, the University of the South, including her experience in teaching at University of Florida. She has also been associated with Santa Fe College since past 20 years. Madam teaches Shakespeare, Introduction to Humanities, Technical Communication, and Freshman Composition classes. Her current responsibilities and the activities include co-chair of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, which oversees curriculum development, ensures that USA curriculum facility based on and is compliance with colleges and state policies for accreditation in USA. She have also been active in international educational initiative in Florida since 2016, including leading 3 study abroad trips to England, helping to create a global scholars certificate, and working with Flavored Scholars Program. Madam has recipient of Opening the Doors to Asia grant, which enabled her to travel to our country, India, in 2014. Thank you, madam, for accepting our invitation as the keynote speaker of the current conference and being with us online for the present event. We all are eagerly waiting for your scholarly talk. I request madam to proceed and enlighten the August gathering with your expertise. Thank you, madam. Over to you.
Let's see. Thank you so much, Dr. Gove. I cannot quite see myself. Is this what I need to do? Can you see me?
Yes, ma'am, we can see you. We can see you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. It's the most extraordinary experience to be here. It's a gift to be invited. I am looking out at my window at a full moon that is glorious with its light, 8,686 miles away, I believe, from the Mumbai airport. I was thinking today that I am your yesterday and you are my tomorrow. And in thinking that, initially I had no idea how true this statement is. It is with great embarrassment to announce the speech, the name of my presentation. So I have a PowerPoint, and very shortly you will see why there is a great deal of overlap, and I'm in fact far behind the fine sir who introduced this conference. It is, in fact, and I apologize, Dr. Thaker, but I had no way of knowing that my metaphor for the world brain was indeed the one that you had chosen, and had far more articulately delineated why this is an appropriate metaphor for all that we try to strive for in the interrelationship, interstices of humanities, hard sciences, and business today. So I am sorry that we crossed paths on this, and I'm equally sorry that I will not be able to give it due justice as it is appropriate to move on. Ironically, this presentation was initially called A Still Point in a Turning World, because that has always been my perception, and it has sometimes been the traditional perception of humanities, that we dwell in quiet, in solace, in nurture, in these still points around which the world turns and churns. It has always been my great desire to work with people in the hard sciences. I'm a biologist at heart, but have too much of an English professor's brain. I am not giving a very erudite speech today. I'm certainly no longer talking about my scholarship in early modern studies. I am applying most of what I know from being in the classroom. This morning, or rather today, I taught 3 classes and had 2 hours of office hours. So my mind is totally rooted in the classroom. I will also be talking about some trends in scholarships. I've been looking at dissertations, recent dissertations. We're doing a search right now for the English department jobs at my college, Santa Fe College. I will also be talking about some of the initiatives that are, of course, far from unique to our college or to the University of Florida. Incidentally, many people would imagine, since I am from Florida, that our campus is near the beach with white sand and beautiful blue water. I am, in fact, from a part of Florida that is north central, in the center of the state, which of course is very narrow. We are inhabited more by alligators than by Mickey Mouse. Our community is fairly rural. Like the College Mahatma Phule, we are most interested in economic empowerment, but we use our resources, our intuition, our love of telling stories and listening to them to usher our students into a new world that they will help create. So Initially, I had planned to talk about some of the problems that we face in the United States, but I found that to be completely unsatisfactory. And some of my comments are rather, I think, probably controversial and too located in the political polarization of the United States. You spoke to this sense of, well, excuse me for focusing my direction. We have always faced the label of being irrelevant. And this fear of irrelevance has often led to our belittling of our own position in the universities. In much of the US, particularly in my state, it's entirely possible that a student will never take a literature class in a major university. Often they will have an introduction to humanities sometimes that is intended to encompass literature, philosophy, art history, music, all of the humanities wrapped into one very superficial 4-month semester. Because of this blossoming in our relationship across in technology, business. I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble hearing. Mostly want to focus now on not the bad.
Proceed, madam, proceed.
Okay, can you not hear me?
Madam, yes, we can.
Okay, I have everything on. I'm not sure why I blipped off for a while. At any rate, I'll move ahead. I wanted to use this poem by William Carlos Williams. It is difficult to get news from poems, yet men die miserably every day for the lack of what is found there. So we will leave some of my plans to drag you all through the fray of economic realities, political polarization, and social injustice that the teaching of humanities, in fact, the very teaching in colleges, universities, and high schools are facing in the US today. I look for that still point in the turning world, and I find that we have the answer in that we listen, tell stories, and find answers. I found these two quotations because I believe they express the interconnectedness of which you spoke earlier, Dr. Thakora. The first one is from Richard Powers. He is a Pulitzer Prize winning author of The Overstory and the Bewilderment. His art combines science and fiction. The science with which he based his book, The Overstory, is in fact the scientifically documented conversation and communication that among trees. He says, science is not about control. It is about cultivating a perpetual condition of wonder in face of something that forever grows one step richer and subtler than our latest theory about it. It is about reverence, not mastery. I have pursued my teaching in English for, of course, many reasons, but primarily because I seek to learn empathy and help my students see their empathetic selves emerge. Leslie Jamison's The Empathy Exams is a fine version, again, of where science and psychology and other disciplines join together. Empathy isn't just listening, it's asking questions whose answers need to be listened. Empathy requires inquiry as much as imagination. Empathy requires knowing you know nothing. Empathy means acknowledging a horizon of context that extends perpetually beyond what you can see. Similarly, as you have already discussed, we know that economic and social empowerment, we know that development of more viable communities, of the interrelationship between a university and its community, its businesses, its nonprofits,
Ma'am, I feel you are mute. Please unmute yourself.
I am not muted.
Yes, 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 ma'am. Yes,
It is a technological glitch.
yes, 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 yes.
Yes. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to address that. And I
Yeah,
do.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I teach technical communications, which is sometimes what I always thought the polar opposite of my area of specialty in Shakespeare. Just today, as I was talking to my students about speaking at this conference, we were talking about the skills that they need to be successful in their lives beyond. I frequently ask the question, as we all do every time we open a book, what does it mean to be fully human? The surveys that I employ in technical communications and that all people employ in this field and business preparation show that, yes, high-tech ability is the heart of so much of what we do. However, there are skills that only the humanities can teach. Cognitive complexity should in fact read critical thinking skills, independence of thought, empathy, curiosity and awe, collaborative skills, intercultural awareness, flexibility, and in fact, willingness to learn. Trends in scholarship. Well, I shan't spend much time with this. The majority of the dissertations surveyed in the last year were focused on social justice and ethical contextualism, race, gender, sexuality, and class, as it should be. We have an emergence of issues that have always been there, but they're more foregrounded now. That is immigration rights, immigration literature, a new, not a new specialty, but something that hasn't received as much as attention as it should be, is eco-criticism. We currently have a Fulbright scholar from Egypt who focuses on feminism and eco-criticism. And most recently, we have people emerging with dissertations on disabilities studies. Secondly, almost everything that I'm seeing has some interdisciplinary project-based focus. And I will talk about some of the projects that I have uncovered in my research. Again, I apologize for the redundancy. I had no clear parameters for what I was going to present today. But again, it's the cognitive of interconnectedness of science and humanities, ranging from something as simple as the way that a poem rearranges our syntactic abilities, hence causing synapses to fire in different ways and increasing not only our linguistic ability, but our people are turning now to more educationally practiced cognitive science. One good example is mindset theory by the author and psychologist Carol Dweck, which posits in the simplest of terms that we teach our students to have a growth mindset, that in the past we have promoted more of a fixed mindset, and students feel they cannot do anything beyond what they seem naturally adherent to. When we praise someone for themselves, they do not recognize the need to move forward, to grow intellectually. And also they are often prevented from growing because they believe they're within the confines of only one process of thought, one area of study. A math person is always a math person and can never do English, and vice versa. They're very interesting studies that follow mindset theory, growth versus fixed. My primary focus today, alas, I may be a bit more show and tell than it should be. Show and tell is something that young children in elementary school do when they bring something of their favorite from home. I will shortly be looking at the projects that I think most merit attention and most exemplify the kind of interactive, applied, and interdisciplinary humanities. The others, what I will leave on the wayside. There are more people who are much better equipped to talk about science fiction, AI, and extended reality. And I find that the daily demands on us to be with our students during the pandemic as counselors, advisors, and as or rather technological specialists has somewhat overwhelmed our system at times, but we are going through that. One of the things that some of the best practices that universities are following, and some of the ways of assessing what we are teaching our students are moving beyond the standardized test, which always has a place, and is still highly valued, but we're looking at ways to test students more incorporative skills of all variety. Places where designed assignments demand that students move beyond their preconceptions and draw together resources that enable them to prove that they are ready for a much more complicated world. One of the things that in our area that we insist on is faculty-driven curriculum. This is a force behind a great deal of scholarship in my area. That should have always been the case, that we design our courses, that we teach them as we know they should be taught. But in recent years, some of that power has been taken from us. There's no issue whatsoever with keeping standards across state government, standards across the entire federal government. However, we are intent on ensuring that faculty designs curriculum and that it is student driven. We, in fact, ask our students, survey our students constantly to see where their concerns are. They, of course, are not experts. They are 19 and 20 years old. But too often curriculum comes down from the top where it should, in fact, start in the roots of most colleges are concerned with assessing the quality of education across the board, maintaining consistencies in general education programs. We have, and a number of studies that I have looked at or rather researched as trends, outcomes. In our case, we call them general education learning outcomes. Classes are assigned a general learning outcome, such as critical thinking. A class like that may be a philosophy class. It might be a class in music. It might be in literature. There is no standard except that we can prove that critical thinking skills are gained. We also have a great deal of conversation, if not, heavy infighting over the issue of what constitutes writing intensive courses. So we are learning to designate classes that are writing to learn to write, no matter the discipline, and those that are writing to learn. More and more we see prerequisites required, and of more interest, the trend that has been gone for a while, learning communities have started to reemerge. Something that's much easier for residential colleges, particularly for small liberal arts schools, but perfectly doable and even a community college situation. These learning communities create cohorts of students, particularly in the first year in college, to take a central core of 4 classes where they share themes, but still are able to complete the basic requirements for getting their degree. It is a community in which learners and teachers thrive. an opportunity for interdisciplinary interaction. One of the things that is rather startling when one, well, frankly, it's not startling. It is as it should be. Initiatives around which curriculum is designed, and in these initiatives that also drive curriculum. It is no surprise that it is global in focus, and that is also sustainable and environmental in focus. Our students, a good 70% of students interviewed in our state are greatly concerned about the future of the planet. They do not always receive commensurate education that meets their needs in this area. So schools are creating broadcast sustainability initiatives that run from the science labs to organic gardens on campus to, yes, literature classes and political science. The last that we are finding helpful in assessment and in allowing students to showcase their are e-portfolios. I tell my students this is just fancy words for a resume. In my case, it's often just a fancy word for a website that we use, that we have students design their own websites as reservoirs of their work. Learning management systems such as Canvas have within them e-portfolio functions where students can store their work throughout their time at the university or college, and their professors can assess across the board how they're doing beyond just the basic outcomes of their classes. Many people, of course, are resistant to that, but it is yet another opportunity for professional development and interdisciplinary collaboration. Here are some projects that I recently shining a light on identity and belonging for Black college students. This is both a project that is based in psychology, based in economic empowerment, based in political science, and involving all of the various resources on a campus that can ensure the well-being of our students, nurture them, and help them to find their way on the college. Normal doesn't exist. Neurodivergence and belonging. Again, that magnificent combination between the way our brain functions, our pathways work, and both showing that we are one, a communal entity, but also that there is no norm, that we are allowed to be different. Belonging across cultures, honoring immigrant identity. This one has a particular focus on an interest of mine since I come from the border of Texas and New Mexico. And then at my particular college, we have a broad disciplinary collaboration between such far-ranging or seemingly far-ranging disciplines as African humanities, as local political science, local health entities, and farmers in the area. This allows for scholarship to meet applied this project is called Opportunities and Benefits in Florida Heritage Foods. This is also part of a research and undergraduate education program that showcase our students' research as well as faculty scholarship. Here are two websites. I'm sure that far too many of our participants here know of them, so forgive my redundancy, but they are a most excellent resource in keeping with oral history that has long been stalwart source of interaction with the community and the betterment of our economic circumstances and the depth in which our students can be immersed in all circumstances. This is Humanities for All from the National Humanities Alliance. Let's see if it'll work. Humanities for All showcases over 2,000 examples of publicly engaged humanities, primarily as digitized oral history and community projects. Goals include publicly engaged, partnerships, local entities. Here are just a few of the 2,000 projects that are within their databases. This is clearly defined a huge resource for all of us working in the community. And most universities now have at least one project of this order, if not 2, 3, 4, or even more. Some of the things that stand out range from speaking, allowing rural voices to speak, as well as urban. This combination from New York University allows displaced people to find their voice as well. This one, well, I cannot scroll down, and that would not be appropriate for this forum. However, I encourage you to visit this website, take a journey across all of the various projects that our country is producing. So here is just a small contribution from my part of the country. This is Humanities in the Sunshine State. Our theme, as always, is water. One would expect that Florida has enough water, but in fact, we don't. My area relies on the clear, beautiful springs of the area. It is a resource, of course, for tourism, for ecological study, for water quality testing, for indigenous species reclamation. At the University of Florida, there is both a institute for stuff that is hard science based, and it has this companion institute that is a center for humanities and the public sphere. This program includes not only what you would expect in terms of immersing our students, it includes our high school programs and teachers as well, and many nonprofits in the area working to preserve the springs. Let me go back to because my audio is so incomplete and so unreliable, I will simply lead with this. And I must ask your forgiveness. This is rather disgraceful for me to be speaking in an international forum with this quality of a Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Okay, and the screen is no longer shared, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, there's no share.
Again, I apologize for the shaky presentation on both the technological end and on my end. I am not sure that anyone has questions for me or you have that time. I will open that up. Otherwise, I will say good night and good morning to you all. You are the most gracious of hosts. And this has been a very fine opportunity for me.
Thank you, ma'am. And the questions will be taken at the end of the session if there are any. I am really very grateful to you. We really appreciate the time you took for us, as it is a late night there. I know it is in USA. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing the ideas about the best practices and the assignments and the assessment methods and the recent trends in the scholarship. Thank you so much for your insightful talk. Thank you once again, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I only wish that I wasn't a speaker, that I was actually a listener. I prefer that.
Yeah, ma'am. You can stay connected, but I know it's late night, so it's fine.
Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Yeah, good night, ma'am. Good night. We now move to the next session. We have with us the next resource person, Honorable Professor Loida Garcia Febo, Madam. I feel privileged to introduce today's resource person, Loida Garcia Febo, Madam. She is from Puerto Rican. She is an ex-member of the Executive Board of American Library Association. She has served as a board member and ex-president of the National Association to promote library and information service to Latinos and Spanish speaking from 2009-2010. Loida Garcia Febo has served as an elementary school librarian, graduated from Graduate School of Information Science and Technology, University of Puerto Rico, She has worked as a librarian at the Centro de Información, University of Puerto Rico, Library Services for Persons with Disabilities, Assistive Technology Information Center. She is also a co-founder of the IFLA, New Professional SIG, that is a special interest group, an international forum for library and information service student and newly qualified librarians. She has served on the Access of Learning Award Advisory Board for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She has represented the International Federation of Library Associates and institution as a speaker at the United Nations Development Program meeting on data accountability for the post from 2015. She is an ex-president of Information New Wave, an international charity seeking to enhance the education of minority groups in USA and in developing countries. Madam was elected president of the American Library Association in 2018-19. She has completed a national tour of libraries during her presidential term, leading the libraries, strong communities, national advocacy initiative. She has represented the American Library Association at Generation Code Born in the Library interactive exhibition, representing to the members of European Parliament. She was elected to the Board of Trustees for the Freedom to Read Foundation. She was also a chairman the American Library Association Task Force on United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Madam has published many papers in a renowned research journals. She has also been awarded with many awards. To name some, she has been awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award, a performer Elizabeth Martin's Lifetime in 2015. She has also been awarded with Elizabeth Footis Catalyst for Change Award. For the conference today, there would not have been more appropriate resource person than her to enhance, to enrich, and enlighten the occasion. Over to you, ma'am. I welcome the resource person of the day. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Mishram. And good morning, everyone over there from the night here in New York. I'm very happy that you have invited me. And so I thank you, everyone. And Dr. Sackman, I think too. She's the one that I make contact a while ago. Again, my appreciation to the college officials and authorities for this invitation. My best regards to all for health and safety during these challenging times. Libraries are the cornerstones of communities. Libraries and librarians are bringing programs and services to the communities they serve at academic, public, school, and special environments to better the education and lifelong learning of individuals. And as Dr. Mishram mentioned, I am a past president of the American Library Association, and I have served at the International Federation of Library Institutions, Associations, and Institutions for a long time. So I'm here to talk to you about libraries and what they are doing. And today I will speak about two things. I will share news about what libraries are doing to help move communities and countries closer to development. And I will speak about the role of libraries in the fourth industrial revolution. I will start with development. We are in what the United Nations has called the Decade of Action. This is a decisive decade for our world. We are working towards achieving development and the sustainable development goals. And we only have a field is impact by COVID-19, climate change, and technological transformation to make three of the most salient points. What do we want from tomorrow? We all want a better world, and libraries are helping to achieve development for a better world through programs and services that promote culture, equity, justice, and environmental resilience, and advocate for broadband for all. Why are libraries important in the delivery of the Sustainable Development Goals? Libraries play an important and unique role by providing access to information that can help eradicate hunger, improve people's education, increase equity in cities, and help the prospects of people in all areas of the world. In addition, the information supports the promotion of community awareness about resilience, climate change, and a sustainable future are general examples of how libraries can help their communities move towards development. And these examples are from the Los Angeles Public Libraries in California. And we created this chart with the American Library Association Sustainable Development Goals task force that I chair. I'm going to focus specifically on objectives, on goals 3, 5, 8, and 10. For instance, on goal 3 related to good health and well-being, libraries are partnering with local agencies to provide free dental and eye exams, eyeglasses, and flu vaccines. Goal 5, gender equality. They are encouraging empowerment of girls through workshops on biodiversity and coding. Goal 8, decent work and economic growth. Libraries are partnering with the cities and different agencies to provide assistance for job seekers and small business owners. And goal 10, reducing inequalities. Libraries are reducing inequalities because they are providing free services for all and are welcoming everyone in the community to the library. Now let's talk about culture, equity, justice, and environmental resilience. Libraries are strengthening the central fiber of our societies and contributing to the social and cultural capital of our societies through the work they do daily, providing information in different ways and formats. Today, I will talk specifically about how libraries are contributing to the areas of culture, equity, justice, and environmental resilience. My purpose is to motivate you to think about how your libraries can contribute to the development of your country and the communities in those areas. Now, let's see an overview of how culture is included in the Sustainable Development Goals and how libraries are supporting communities in this area. Target 4.7 of the United Nations. So target 4.7 refers to the objective of ensuring that all learners acquire the knowledge and skills necessary to promote sustainable development, included but not limited to the work that libraries do in education, for global education, citizenship, and the appreciation of cultural diversity. And the contribution of culture to the sustainability of development. Target 8.3 addresses the promotion of development-oriented policies that support productive activities, as well, among others, creativity and innovation that libraries support with, for example, computer classes for people of all ages. Goals 8.9 and 12.b refer to the need to design and implement policies to promote sustainable tourism, including through local culture and products, and to the need to develop monitoring tools in this area. Libraries can help small entrepreneurs to understand how to make their business plan, how to understand the market, and do a study of needs to establish their businesses. This helps in the production of local products and to promote the local culture. Target 11.4 highlights the need to intensify efforts to protect and safeguard the world's cultural and natural heritage. As we know, libraries have preserved people's history for centuries. The work carried out by librarians, and all those who work in libraries contributes directly to the success of societies and to the communities, cities, and countries reaching levels of development, as it is the purpose of the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, let's look at the areas of equity, justice, and environmental resilience. Goal 10 is about reducing inequalities. And it calls us to reduce inequality within and between countries. Inequality had fallen in countries before COVID-19, and after this pandemic that has not ended, the panorama is showing that there might be a worldwide recession, which will mainly impact vulnerable communities, the elderly, people living in the poverty, people with different abilities, children, women, migrants, refugees. But libraries can help our communities through a library card that can be used by people in many cities to access books, databases, and other materials that can help them access information that will help them prepare for jobs and improve their education and their chances in life. On the screen, we have a card that can be used in public libraries, and this can help reduce inequalities for the users and communities. The Los Angeles Public Library provides more than high school diploma. And many libraries partner with Girls Who Code to provide classes for girls to learn to write code, which increases their possibilities in the technological field. Goal 16 is about peace, justice, and strong institutions. How can we contribute to equal access and justice for all? There are three arguments why libraries are unique in achieving and helping to achieve Goal 16. Because democracy depends on informed services and societies. Because open government is more than a website. And because the best decisions are based on the best information. During these pandemic times, libraries are providing information to dispel misinformation about the virus, and that is directly linked to Goal 16. And this is very important because libraries are impacting the entire world. Libraries can save lives. The next area for today is environmental resilience. This includes the Sustainable Development Goals about resilience, and biodiversity, and land and water nexus. And this area includes goals 1, 6, 7, 9, 12, 14, and 15. Poverty eradication, clean water and sanitation, clean and accessible energy, industry, innovation and infrastructure, responsible consumption and production, life underwater and life on Earth. As we know, climate action is paramount for our world. Environmental resilience, the United Nations has said, is the capacity of environmental systems to adapt to changes and conserve their services. How can this be achieved in the middle of so much pollution? Libraries are contributing to development in the areas of environmental resilience by helping villages obtain renewable energy through solar panels, placing clean water wells on libraries' premises, collaborating with scientists to study dolphins, and libraries are also hosting events where they talk about our role in providing information through the collections and the guides that we produce so that people understand their behavior and how we help to preserve our planet. Also on libraries, on how libraries can be leaders in sustainable buildings and in community gardens to teach sustainable planting practices. In addition, library associations such as the American Library Association help countries that have experienced destruction of their libraries by natural or man-made disasters through grants to rebuild libraries. On the screen, we have photos of when we visit libraries destroyed by Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, that's in the Caribbean, and we encourage people to donate. The American Library Association was able to give grants to Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands to rebuild. And also they have given grants to areas in the Pacific, in Haiti, and in Mexico. For more information about this topic, you can visit the IFLA website and the ALA also website on groups on sustainability. Now, to close this first part, the strategy for library associations and for libraries includes to support the developments for our communities and countries. We must be long-term for response and work. Leave no one behind. We must change paradigms and collaborate in all sectors. Show the value of the proposals and the value of libraries. We can all contribute from where we are. I also have recommendations. My recommendation for you is to develop guides to help the country's librarians to provide information and programming that helps their communities in the areas of culture, equity, justice, and environmental resilience. Mirroring these guides, you could develop guides for library patrons as well. You have many examples of what libraries are already doing, and you can compile those examples into documents that librarians can download from your website and use for their strategic planning. We need a united world and not divided. Everyone deserves basic needs. Please don't, let me just pass them, please. Everyone deserves basic needs, dignity, and a fair shot accesses. Together, united, your regional areas with national library associations, national libraries, schools of library and information sciences, all of you can help rebuild a just and equitable society in your region and country. Now, the second part of my talk, it's about the fourth industrial revolution. And this is about connectivity, automatization, cyber physical systems, the Internet of Things, machine learning, artificial intelligence, smart technologies, and advanced analytics, to mention a few. We are living in the area of digital transformation, and that comes with the fourth industrial revolution, and it is for the people. This is a priority in the world right now, and it is people-centered. The pandemic showed us that the entire world depends on connectivity and accelerated the process towards the development and adoption of the 4IR. 4 is the industrial revolution, technologies, and full digital transformation. The Web Foundation said that yes, the internet is a lifesaver, but not for 3.7 billion of people still without access. Unfortunately, the pandemic also highlighted inequalities in digital readiness despite the increasing availability of new technologies. People living in poverty still do not fully enjoy these benefits. The world has a new dimension of inequality, the digitally empowered on the one hand and the digitally deprived on the other. As Lee Young, Director General of the UNIDO unit at the United Nations, stated, the effects of the pandemic will be long lasting, and the post-pandemic world will increasingly be driven by 4IR technologies and their applications for inclusive and sustainable industrial development. So libraries have been discussing and exploring the digital transformation that has come with the fourth industrial revolution for years. However, during the pandemic, to meet the needs of library users and researchers accessing services only online, libraries faced elements of automation, AI, and machine learning. Libraries can power this revolution and help rebuild our societies and economies. Libraries are the great equalizer. Through libraries, our communities can better the education and lifelong learning. As countries in the Asia and Pacific region devote significant efforts to overcome the economic shock driven by COVID-19, there is increasing interest in seizing the crisis as an opportunity to modernize their industrial structure, improve sustainability and resilience, and ensure that benefits of the recovery are evenly distributed among all members of society. The United Nations has highlighted the need for increased digital skills development through capacity building and policy interventions, addressing the uptake of the 4IR technologies. Throughout the years, libraries have played a central role in these areas. And there is a great opportunity for libraries to join these efforts with regional and national partners, which are also moving towards the development of smart cities. As per the United Nations, digital technologies have a key role to play by enabling and accelerating our efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. While the SDGs, as we know them, are the what the world is aiming for by 2030, which is the deadline, the digital technology will be central to shaping the how in terms of reaching this destination and accelerating action at scale locally. Leaving no one behind also means leaving no one offline. That the 4IR helps to learn remotely, to perform works from anywhere, and to restore resilience of economies. In light of this, how can libraries contribute to accelerate development in your region, in your country? Particularly in that region, the benefits of 4IR include lower greenhouse gas emissions, reduction of solid waste going into land, incinerators and oceans, improved healthcare, low carbon products and services, better jobs, sustainable farming, protecting the environment and biodiversity, and mitigating extreme weathers and rising dialogue for the Asia Pacific and Arab region. The following issues were discussed. The adoption of 4IR technologies differ from country to country, particularly in the middle income countries and landlocked development countries. And there are key areas to accelerate the 4IR. They include the promotion of the field of STEM sectors. And these include micro, small, and medium enterprises and startups. Now, some examples on how libraries can support these changes for your consideration. Scholars are calling organizations, big and small, to embrace digitality with workshops about how small organizations can design digital humanities projects for specific and targeted audience, social justice focused digital collections. Librarians are calling for more support for digital ethnic studies in libraries that will amplify unheard voices. Researchers are documenting incarcerated people's experiences during COVID-19, and they are working to increase access to computer by tribal communities. And they're also digitally preserving documents for public health. There is a huge increase in libraries' digital commons, digital platforms to provide access to the scholarly education community. Digital readiness, community of practice. They are holding workshops to teach about structures that provides a pathway and resources for practitioners at any level of expertise to work through all aspects of the digital project life cycle, or using approachable language and appropriately scaled practices. As per the Clark in Montana State University, increasingly, our digital experiences are mediated by obscure algorithms. An algorithm awareness research module was introduced at the Digital Library Forum last year, including a generic code application for auditing algorithm user experiences and quantifying those experiences as data sets for analysis. The use of algorithms can replicate and even amplify human and systemic bias, where they function on the basis of data which is not adequately diverse. Lack of diversity in the technology sector can mean that this challenge is not adequately addressed. Additionally, social media algorithms can fuel the fragmentation of societies around the world, and yet they also have the potential to do the opposite. Other examples in which libraries could potentially participate include, and these are all from Africa, Rwanda medicines delivered by drones. In Uganda, a biomedical smart jacket, which can measure body temperature, heart rate, and lung conditions, is helping doctors diagnose pneumonia. In Nigeria, crowdsourcing is providing financial support for thousands of farmers. In Kenya, a blockchain application is assisting in land registration. And in South Africa, drone aerial imagery is used to identify problems in crop yields in sustained periods of drought. Machine learning algorithms have been designed to allow citizens to locate nearby mobile healthcare clinics. It's amazing, and libraries are collaborating. What all this means? The Association of Research Libraries released data about trends and opportunities for research librarians related to emerging technologies in the current global climate. The key findings are collaborative, collective approaches to emerging technology challenges or endeavors that transcend a single unit, institution, or region, or even research library will be increasingly needed, valued, and expected. In the face of uncertainties about higher education, participants anticipate research libraries are poised to engage in shaping the future of other institutions in higher education from a position of strength. The pandemic, through attention to collaborative and cloud tools support. Excuse me a second. Thank you. So I was saying that the pandemic threw attention to collaborative and cloud tools to support the focus on online teaching and research continuity, testing barriers to open data and scholarship. Experiments and improvisations can be expected to continue with new constraints. And one more, data generated and used in research and learning as a byproduct of digital life will continue to ground a variety of projects in every part of the higher education projects, and data-intensive research will continue to gain momentum. A most interesting point about the future for learning and research libraries indicates that technologies on their own do not determine outcomes, but are adopted in particular social, economic, and political contexts that inflect their development and use. Therefore, it is useful that we analyze and create uses based on our economic, socio-economic, and political context. The social inclusion of the community is the consolidation of democracy. And to conclude, in order to power the fourth industrial revolution, librarians need to consider certain points I have pulled out from a report, a very recent report from the CILIP Library Association in England. How do we ensure that today's workforce has the skill by artificial intelligence, machine learning, process and automation, and robotics? And what are the skill sets needed in the future workforce? What are the ethical implications? And lastly, I want to remind again that we should strive to change paradigms, policy transformations, work with multi-sectoral alliances, multidimensional processes, and secure a seat at the table to show the value of libraries. All of these will help us to rebuild a just and equitable society transformed by technologies and transformed by libraries. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a real pleasure to listen to you, ma'am. You took time to share your thoughts with us. We are really grateful for the efforts. You shared your experiences while working as a librarian in USA. Ma'am, your enthusiasm is contagious. Even at this time of the day, you were so energetic. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. We are truly enriched by your words. Thank you so much, ma'am. And good night, ma'am.
Nice.
With this, we move to the next session. We have with us our next resource person, Honorable Professor Dr. Rajneesh Ratna sir. I request Mr. Sunil Avchitte, Librarian, Knowledge Resource Center, to introduce our next resource person, Professor Dr. Rajneesh Ratna sir from Bhutan. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Leena. Respected resource person for today's international conference, Professor Andrew Holt, Loida Gracia Madam, Dr. Ramesh Gaur sir, and resource person for this session, Dr. Rajneesh Ratna, and all participants from all over India and abroad. I welcome you all on behalf of Raj Shikshan Sanstha, Mahatma Phule College, Panvel, Maharashtra, India. A resource person for third session of this conference is Dr. Rajneesh Ratna from Gedu College of Business Studies, Gedu, Bhutan. This is the brief introduction of Dr. Rajneesh sir. Dr. Rajneesh sir completed his PhD from IIT Kharagpur on exploring the dynamics of learning organization. Completed his post-graduation MTech from IIT Kharagpur, BTech in Agriculture Engineering. Research experience of Dr. Rajneesh sir is presently working as an associate professor in Gedu College, Royal University of Bhutan since 2018. Before this, he worked as associate professor in International School of Business and Modern Media, Pune, India. He has also industry experience. Awards and achievements. Sir received International Achiever Award, Best Education Awards, Best Researcher Award. Funded projects, sir completed 7 research projects under various funding agencies. Prominent positions serving by Dr. Rajneesh sir. Sir is a member Research Committee at Royal University of Bhutan, member College Research Committee at Gedu College, Bhutan, reviewer for reputed journals, research and publications. Sir published 7 research publications in Scopus and ABDC publication, 50 research paper in national and international journal and conference proceedings, editor for 4 editor books, resource person in various webinar, workshop, faculty development program, and keynote speaker. Sir contributed in 25 plus webinar workshop as a resource person as well as keynote speaker, session chair. Sir is also external examiner for PhD thesis evaluation. Sir, this is the brief introduction of Dr. Rajneesh sir. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of our college and request you to deliver insight on research problem identification. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. And from Bhutan, it is good afternoon. We are just 30 minutes ahead of you. One and all dignitaries present here, my sincere regards to patrons, principals.
So please
Vice
unmute
principals.
yourself, sir.
I'm not audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Go ahead.
Okay. So speakers, all principals, vice principal, academic fraternity.
I'm sorry to say, sir, but we can't still hear you, sir. I think there is some technical glitch. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Are
I
you
can see.
audible?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
maybe
Sir, you are
some-
audible. Yes, sir. Sir, sir. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry, sir. Okay. Continue.
So thank you. Congratulations to organizing team, advisory committee, and a bundle of thanks to my friend, Dr. Lokhande and Mr. Sunil for making me part of this year. Best wishes all the participants here. The topic which has been assigned to me is problem identification. Research problem identification based on my experience evaluating more than 15 PhD thesis and more than 30 research paper I have reviewed from leading publishers like Emerald, Ender Science, CRC, Springer. And we are finding, not in all cases, but majority of cases I have seen, the proper connect is missing in terms of title, problem statement, research question, research objective, hypothesis. And when we are supposed to write the problem statement, gap is there and we are short of words. What we are supposed to write here. The first thing is we need to understand research problem identification. With the help of that, we need to propose a suitable title for it. And then all these things has to be in proper sync. Well-connectedness, objective, your research question, especially in thesis. Nowadays, day by day, the things are being very friendly for the writer. But in traditional method, we need to write the problem statement. We need to write research question. We need to write objective. Then we need to formulate the hypothesis. And after that, we need to process. So in case of when we are proceeding for research problem identification, and this is playing the central role in your scientific writing. When I'm saying the scientific writing, it is including your thesis, your research paper, and preparing a report for the funded projects. So in that, as we all know, that steps of scientific inquiry we are following. And what is that scientific inquiry? Science is involving activities for gathering and use of information through a scientific process. So this scientific inquiry is involving activities and asking us to gather and make use of the information available there. And in that, the first step is problem identification. Though I know, and we all are familiar, when we have to publish a paper, I'm not going for that detail, that the basic aim and objective of this publication is only for promotion and increment, or really we want to contribute something for the existing body of knowledge, some new findings we are going to write. We know all that what is our aim when we are doing this publication. So this scientific process is starting with problem identification. And this problem, we are trying to consult it from the existing body of knowledge, that what is the appropriate technology term for this. So problem definition is there. Maybe in our day-to-day life, common life, we are using some different word. But our existing body of knowledge, we can say the academic fraternity and research fraternity, they are not prone to that. They are not familiar with this word. So maintaining the uniformity and familiarity with that, we need to consult literature, and then we find, oh, this is the suitable name for this function and this problem. What academic fraternity and research is accepting that, whether it is psychology or it is management practices or it is library science. And that's why when we are writing a research paper, we are using the word keywords at the end of our abstract, so that we can maintain the uniformity of that. Then we are going for problem analysis, deduction based on the analysis, whether you are following deductive approach or you are following inductive approach. Aim is to add the existing body of knowledge with something. The topic we have selected today is the problem statement. And problem statement is what? Description of a difficulty or lack that needs to be researched to see whether a solution can be found. And based on that gap, the word we are using, difficulties, it is described in 3 steps. First is a gap between real and desired, contradiction between principle and practice, and contradiction between different findings. So these 3 difficulties asking us or helping us to find a research problem. Is it the gap between real and desired? Is talking about the contradiction between the principle and practice? Theory is saying so and so, and when we are going for the real life practice, we are finding some differences there. And this is a trigger for us. Oh, this is the area we need to do the research. And when you are finding the contradiction between different findings, you are getting some is saying the significant relation is there. Some cases they are saying not significant. And what could be the possible things? Why the gap is there? So based on that, 3 types of research problem is there. First is conceptual problem. Conceptual problem is coming when 2 findings are conceptually and theoretically inconsistent. So there is problem with the concept, and here we need to conduct a research. So I'll take the points from here. What are the possible variables? What are the topical variables in that problem? Second is practical problem. Undesirable outcome in a system, hampering the attainment of desired goal. That is, you are going to face the practical problem. And third type of research problem is knowledge gap. Some gap is there, vacuum is there, and my study, my research is based on bridging this gap in existing body of knowledge. So 3 types of research based on contradiction, whether it's contradiction in practice or 2 different findings, or the contradiction is coming through some other source like real and desired, principles and practice, or contradiction between 2 different findings. So we can summarize all this discussion and say that research problem is an interrogative statement which asks about the presumed relationship between 2 and more variables, and that create a particular state of affair, giving you trigger. I have to do this. I have to fill this gap. I have to find out why there is a difference in this finding and this finding, why there is difference in practice and principle. So this is what, but in our study, we have already decided that I want to work on learning organization, on knowledge management, or employee commitment, or any area. So you have already identified. You have already identified that this is my variable. But when you are writing and you are proceeding for the publication, that time sufficient justification is needed. And especially for the country like us, the developing, or you can see the non-Hindi, the non-English, we are sort of the words what we are supposed to read there. So I'll come to that point. Before that, try to find out that whether you have taken your research variables from your own interest, or already you have decided I want to do this. So creating a logical background, background before going for that, and try to establish, though it is cooked one only, means in positive note, we have to cook a story behind it. That title selection you have. Title selection, clear guidelines is given by the APA. Good number of pages will be there. First time it will be very frustrating. My God, this number of guidelines, then I have to work for 20 pages of research paper or 200 pages of my thesis. So for that, I have to visit 300 plus, and I think 400 approaching this APA 7th edition. But in the title, they have clearly given the instruction that it should not be more than 15 words. And this 15 words is including your keywords. It is not including any term that you are using, article and other grammatical factors. Key variables. And these key variables must include the problem, and based on the problem, what you have taken the keyword from the existing literature. should include that one. So your research statement, when you have to write this research statement, must convince the reader that a study must be done. You have to ignite that one. You have to support that why you are doing this research. Second point is you need to provide evidence in support of your problem that it is very serious and there is need of further investigation. Now, it should be simple, and that's why in most of the PhD programs, you are having a very good English, but technical writing, one course is offered for the PhD program and a level, the English for technical writing. So this is what I'm telling you, that a statement should be simple and nature of a study that you have to explain that whether you are going to achieve it to the correlation, exploratory result, descriptive, or your aim is to create a model. Right now we are having this opportunity, only one or two limited positive opportunity from this pandemic is that we are able to make use of the online platform, and that's why sitting in Bhutan, temperature is 3 degrees here, and I'm able to connect to you with temperature. You are having 30 degrees, and many more differences are there. So time and space is now not limited with that. Another advantage with this pandemic is not advantage. We are having the adverse impact across the globe because of this pandemic. But here it is one learning is there that we need to revisit all the theories that we are studying in psychology, sociology, social science, education, and all those. Because during lockdown, before this pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, there will be some difference. We are saying the simple word new normal, but it is going to have a significant impact on all the existing theory, being from HR and lot many doing project and research on business area. I'm finding the motivation theory that has been given, organizational culture. And from last 2 years, employees are not visiting the organization. So what kind of culture is there in online mode? We need, means why I'm giving this example, that here we have option to work on the theory. Either you can propose a new theory or you can go for the amendment. So follow the deductive approach or follow the inductive approach. But here, and when we are proposing that, convince the reader, yes, provide sufficient evidence that this is a serious problem, and this you can. Then we have to find out next is population affected by the problem. Is it limited to the working people only, or it is limited to the education sector, or how it is going to have the impact, means who will be your sample and population, which methodology you are going to follow. Means in the problem identification, this list will be helpful. Then variables, how variables are related and what is your aim. One thing is clarity, conciseness, and logic has to be there in your research problem. Based on research problem, you are going for your title. If it is research paper, you are aiming to publish in Emerald. Emerald has given guidelines that your keyword should not be more than 12 words. APA is saying for PhD thesis, you can go up to 15, but that is not including your articles and other grammatical words there. Keywords there. Then you need to reach to the next point, that how this title you are going to justify through your problem statement, research question. I'll give some examples here. I'll share. Then objective. We are always constant with that is so and so university guidelines. They are saying that your research questions should not more be than 3. Your research objective should not be more than 5. Though there is no such condition given for hypothesis. Meaning is very clear here that your title is bearing the information and properly it is linked with your research question. For one research question, at least one objective has to be there. And I think this is, I'm asking for my all research scholars and those who are in touch that in your thesis writing and research methodology, if possible, you can add one table and clearly mention research question 1 linked with research objective 1. Then possible hypothesis here. Acceptance of rejection of hypothesis will help you in achieving this objective, and achievement of objective will give you the answer of the question. Our purpose is solved. If you want to further extend that table, add on based on the objective 1, this objective, which statistical tool you are going to use. And if you provide all these things in one table, it is easy for researcher, evaluator, guide, and all the stakeholders are involved in that. So this is the sequence we need to establish. And we need to follow the guidelines of APA that is universally acceptable. Other guidelines are also there. Coming to what are the sources of research idea that we are getting and how we are going to refine the research ideas. So in terms of sources of research problems, personal interest is there. Once my favorite course, topic, subject, my interest in learning organization, my interest in training and development, my interest in financial inclusion, my interest is so and so. Now, so based on that, we are trying to find out the variables. Aim is you can start as the formal guidelines. They are saying you try to find out the problem, and from there you can start your research idea generation. Other option is information and observation. Any behavior that creating curiosity in once that, oh, I want to do that. I want to get this information. It is not available. What could be the possible thing? It is available in so and so context, but my study is based on so and so country, so and so condition, landlocked, and because of the cultural, what differences is there. So I need this information. Practical problems that you are facing in your class, in your school, in your job, in your means you know your area of specialization, and based on that you can find out the practical problem. But I don't know whether it is too much instructing or I'm just trying to sound like that I'm a very good in this and I'm instructing. No, not at all. My suggestion is that before doing a research in your area of specialization, being a teacher, first you conduct one research about your subject that you are taking. And research aimed at how you are going to improve the teaching learning process. Be honest in that. Take the feedback from your stakeholders, others. And this research is going to help you in improving your teaching learning process, as well as you'll have a good publication in your area. Plus, it will give you lots of possible options generating your ideas and for research ideas, further research in your specialization. So this is what first point was, that it should not be aimed with that next 2-3 years I have to go for the promotion, and for this, these are the minimum requisites. I have to meet that, and then you'll be promoted. Make sure that you are going to add some knowledge, value to that existing body. Second point is, first research is needed in your subject as a teacher when you are teaching it. What is the requirements and demands apart from pedagogy? Now it is, yes, pedagogy is practiced across, but andragogy is taking the role, and that is suggesting that pedagogy is limited to the children's learning. Andragogy is meant for adult learning. So try to know your audience, and based on that, you can follow the right methodology. This is generating an idea for your research. Sometimes fleeting thoughts, transient, something is coming into the mind, why so and so, and we are inquiring. That scientific inquiry, we are following the process, and in common sense, we can say the normal inquiry, why so and so and is happening. Why it is going like that? Reading books, that is the normal practice. We are visiting the research. We are visiting different publications. We are going through the magazines, website, advertisement, and most common source is our journals. Other source of research idea is when we are finding there is opposing theory and we are finding the difference in practice and principles. Be very clear if you are having less time, and in that case you have to refine and generate the research idea. So two-way thinking is there, rational thinking and creative thinking. Yes, both approach is having its own advantage and limitation. And this uh, advantage and limitation means rational thinking. We are very logical in that case. This is possible, the scale is already there, questionnaire is there, it is going to save my time. And this is the possible population from where I can collect the data. Rational thinking. In selection of title, in selection of variables, in selection of another research area is coming from the creative thinking, and you are having emotional connect with that. I want to do that. And all new kind innovation, creativity, these things are coming through that. So that is the creative thinking, which is responsible for developing new concepts, new theories. So it is up to us that we are rational. Yes, less time is there. I have to meet the expectation of my profile and my position, and same time I have to meet the expectation of my organization. So that way rational thinking is okay. In selection of title also rational thinking, some certain extent is okay. But creating thinking is definitely, you need to dive deep into it. Concepts are new. You have to start from the scratch. Okay, this. But this thinking is going to add something new to the existing body, rather than doing the repetitive things in there. So advantages and limitations are there in both the thinkings, but researcher has to have a clear understanding on that my approach is, I'm going to use the ability of imagination and I'm going to produce something which will be new for the audience. But yes, it is needed. And that's why we are getting the new ideas. We are getting the new concepts. Otherwise, we are going to repeat again and again by changing the time frame, by changing the respondent, by changing the question, and we are doing the same kind of research and doing that. So that is what the rational thinking is. Coming to the factor, when you are selecting a research problem, make sure that it is interesting for you, because you are the first stakeholder. Diet is coming after that. So it should be interesting for you. First, your interest is important. And it must match with your specialization, your subject area. And then you can think of the time and resource available to that. Originality in research paper writing, we have seen in abstract, especially Emerald is asking one option, originality, value that you're going to have. Means should be sufficiently original, does not involve objectionable duplication. It must be empirically or theoretically in research ability has to. This topic is researchable. Whether we are doing it for the primary data or we are doing with the secondary data. It must be having the significance for the frontiers of the knowledge. Feasibility is there, open-minded, knowledge gap. Yes, it is there. But when we are going through this literature review, 6 different types of gap is there. It's gap analysis. So we are trying to fill this gap. And ethics has to be there, that researching into the problem should not involve any ethical violation that we know already. This part is very, very important when we are writing the problem statement. I'm not sure about all of the, I'm sure that all dignitaries here and good academicians. But I faced problem when my guide asked that you go and write the problem statement. What we are supposed to write? What is the problem statement? Already I have explained in the background. I have it written in this introduction part. Rational, need, these things are already covered. What is the expectation from here? And then going through the literature, different books, yes, sitting in one of the largest library of Asia. And finally summarize the 3 things if we are able to incorporate in problem statement. It is sufficient to justify the topic, title, objective you have taken for a study. First, you can talk about the ideal consumption of the. if this problem is related to cohesiveness or group cohesiveness, something like that. So describe first desired good and ideal situation, that group cohesiveness, if it is there, what could be the ideal situation for that topic and the variable you are taking, or the combination of variables you are taking for your writing. Then second part is you can elaborate the reality. It was the ideal condition that there is no attrition. If no attrition is there, in that case, these things are there. Second step, you are going to describe the reality in IT sector also and show this is the record based on this KPMG or any other source, that reality is that high level of attrition is there. So elaborate that one. And if this problem is not solved, so how it is going to have the consequence? The ideal situation of your research problem, research titles or variables that you have taken. In reality, how these things are being practiced. And if this problem is not solved, so how it is going to have a consequences on the stakeholders involved in that. So consequences identifies the repercussions of problem and how current situation improved, moved closer to the goal. Idea, by ending their statement with motivation for the research. So if we are able to write these three factors, ideal of that problem, ideal situation of this problem, in reality, because of this reality and the problem only you have started. So in reality, what is there? And if it is not solved, then how it is going to affect, or how it is going to have a cascading effect on all the stakeholders involved in that. If we are having understanding, rest all the discussions are just for the knowledge. These three things you can summarize, you can write in the different ways, that this is what attrition has to be, sound attrition, or we can say the healthy attrition up to 1 digit, means below 10%, 2 to 3%, whatever it is. Second is, if reality is saying that this organization, this level, or this age group, we are finding high attrition is there. So this is your real problem. And if it is not solved, so how it is going to have the cost impact on other employees working there, how it is going to have impact on organizational functioning, how it is going to have the impact on product and services that you are giving, that role you are playing. So ideal, reality, and consequences based on the title you have selected and the problem you have started. And this way you are able to get their rejection will not be there. Maybe some suggestion will be there for the improvement. And this is what expected when we are writing. Why we have taken this, we know. Because of my interest area, because the question is available. My guide is saying that already we are having 3 research instrument is already there. Just you have to collect the data from your company and you can summarize to that. But when these things are going for a platform, academic platform, you have to publish in the form of research paper, right justification is there. And that research problem identification and the research problem you have identified, it is having this background. If this problem, ideal condition should be this function, ideal condition should be so and so. In reality, it is facing so and so. And if it is not solved, it is going to have a cascading effect on all the stakeholders involved. And this way, we need to do that. A simple step in research problem identification, first broad areas. So my area is library science, my area is commerce, my area is business, or under business, my human resource management, or it is psychology, organizational behavior, culture. So first broad area, then dissect into sub areas. Second parts, what is that? Specialization, or you can say super specialization. Then select the most interesting that you know. Raise research question and formulate the objective. And objective you can link. In leading universities, some guidelines are there on this. Maybe they are not following APA, nothing wrong there, but their understanding is 3 questions, 5 research objectives, and there is no limit on hypothesis acceptable. For one research paper, I think 1 or 2 research question, 1 and 2 objective, and possible hypothesis has to be there. So this is what the hierarchy of concept is there. Research area, research topic. Then you need to look at the general research question, a specific research question, objective, and then you can proceed for your hypothesis, what a statistical tool you're going to use that one, and this way. So what exactly we need to write? We need to understand about this problem statement can be written as either a question or as a declarative statement. You may be used following a general statement. It's okay. Purpose to identify sub-problems that will be answered in your research. So generally, it is helping you to develop your objective, and accordingly you can propose your hypothesis. Research question, that will be after the research problem statement. Interrogative sentences, yes, but here is, it can be used along with the general statement of the purpose to identify sub-problems, and that will be answered. If we are finding that your thesis is being too heavy, so you can differentiate primary objective and secondary objective. Bound to be achieved, primary objective, and by the way, means your byproduct. Main product is your primary objective, and you have to achieve that one. Byproduct, along with that you are getting, that is secondary objective. And some examples were given there. So based on that, we can think, we can identify the steps I have given. Areas, dissect into sub areas, select a suitable topic, raise question, cross check, double check, verify whether this research question you will be able to get the answer. So what is the possible objective for that? Again, what could be the appropriate tool that is available to you, and based on that, what type of data is available to you? So check and double check. It is justifiable that in real sense, actually, scientifically, you have identified your research problem, and this research problem is connected well with your title, with your problem statement, and accordingly you can frame the background of your study, then your and these things will be helpful after completing your, because write research problem, and accordingly all the background you have prepared, it will help you for writing a conclusion part. And in number of cases I have seen the research conclusion very difficult to differentiate based on the finding your data analysis and interpretation, and the same thing you are repeating in conclusion part. In conclusion part, that answer has to come from your writing in keeping in mind the research question you have framed. So reading that, reader will be able to understand, okay, this is answering question number 1 and this is answering question number 2. Whatever the steps you have followed, finally you have to summarize and conclude that one. So this is, you can say, the main part of your research. Write problem identification, title, then following the steps, it will help you in deciding your methodology, which research design you are going to adopt, and at the conclusion, you will be able to do that. So there are some qualities are given there that good research problem should possess, express a relationship between 2 or more variables, should be stated clearly without any ambiguity, and should be such that it implies the possibility of empirical testing or testing through secondary data. In case of title, we had the thorough discussion on that. Look at the words. Don't, some list is given there, some guidelines are there, and they're suggesting that you need to avoid that title should not have more than, it should be to the point. Other parts is your clarity. No use of the purpose. Somebody is writing a study of an experimental investigation of, these things should appear in your research methodology. Avoid that. There is no hard and fast lines there, but guidelines is suggesting if you're finding it is not useful, please avoid such kind of words like a study of doing so and so, a empirical study of empirical evidence is there. Title, colon, and then you can empirical evidence. It is justifying. It's the key. But as short as to the point, you have to keep the title. And title is coming from. So this is what the main topic is, your problem identification, whether it is based on your interest or based on the available resource you have. You are having the available resource, you are saying, yes, I have this ready-made questionnaire is there. And just I have to collect the data and one paper will be published in a Scopus and my objective will fulfill it. I'm going to qualify for my promotion and goals. One responsibility and we need to play that make sure that we are going to act. Here we are having ample of opportunity that whether all the theories are going to work post-pandemic situation during the lockdown and especially for the behavioral factors. So selection, this is the suggestion, and identification is playing a crucial role in your research because based on the problem only you can finalize your title, and when you are ending your session with conclusion that is going to justify with your research problem, real research problem that you have identified. Then you are going for a future scope. Yes, the real problem you have identified. In that case, you are having so many suggestions for that, all topical and relevant factors and variables involved in that. And one and last request to all the fraternity, researchers and academicians present here, that please just not limit yourself with correlation and regression. We are almost 30, 40 years back from the developed country. Move. Make use of 3, 4 variables. Go for confounding relationship, establishing confounding relationship, doing mediation, moderation. So this practice is less in developing nation. And that is not only the point for differentiating the nation, but as a researcher, just we need to move extra mile so that really we are going to serve some knowledge for followers and other all involved in that area. With that, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable guidance, your valuable insight on the topic. So you shared your expertise in different aspects of research, especially on framing the research problem, research statement. I hope it will be really beneficial for our students and the research to explain, to explore, and frame the problem statement in a better way. Thank you again. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Welcome.
Now I request Vice Principal Dr. Naresh Madhvi sir to introduce our next speaker, Senior Most Faculty of IGNCA, Honorable Dr. Ramesh Gaur sir, Dean Head Kalanidhi Division at IGNCA, New Delhi. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to one and all. Myself, Professor Dr. Naresh Madhvi, Head of the Department of Economics. It is my privilege to introduce resource person, Professor Dr. Ramesh Gaur. Professor Dr. Ramesh Gaur is presently working as a Dean and Head at Kalanidhi Division at Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, New Delhi. Sir is one of the senior most faculty in NGNCA. As a Dean of the NGNCA, he is responsible for management of various academic programs. He has also been appointed as a Ministry of Culture, Government of India, as an officer on special duty for setting up of Indian Institute of Heritage. Sir has been appointed as a chairman of Project Monitoring Committee of Niti Aayog, Government of India. Sir has visited 24 countries in relation to various assignments related to digital library and allied areas. International and national awards. Professor Gaur has received over 14 national and international awards. Sir is the first Indian nominated as a member at International Advisory Committee at UNESCO. He is also the first Indian appointed as a chairman IFLA Advisory Committee on Cultural Heritage for period 2021-24. Sir is member of various committees of Library Association. He has served over 100 national committees and boards. Sir is a member of editorial and advisory board and guest editor in several international and national journals. Sir has authored and edited about 12 books and written over 70 plus papers and has delivered over 600 talks in national and international seminar and conferences. So we have with us very experienced personality. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of Mahatma Phule Arts Science Commerce College Panvel as a resource person for international multidisciplinary conference. Sir, I request you to proceed on digital humanities, digital library, and e-scholarship. Thank you very much.
Sir, unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So good afternoon, and thank you very much for very kind and generous introduction. Thanks for inviting me for this very important event, and it is an honor with such an eminent keynote speaker and panel of speakers. As just now topic has been mentioned, I will be trying to share my experience and understanding of the new concept, new and very emerging concept, digital humanities. So let me share my PPT and then I will speak. Just give me one. I hope you all can see my PPT.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So we have been talking about new trends in social sciences, humanities, and business commerce. So in this context, this digital humanity is a very new and upcoming area. And I will just try to give you some brief introduction about this. But I request all of you to please mute your mic. Somebody's mic is on. And so in this context, like first, let's talk about humanities. What are the humanities? Basically, subject like ethics and law, language, literature and linguistic, art history, social sciences, history, philosophy and religion, archaeology. All these subjects comes under humanities. And when we are talking about digital humanities, how digital humanity is different from humanities. So in this context, let me just give you some basic definition of digital humanities. So in academic field, basically, we are talking about application of computational methods in traditional humanities. So the digital humanity is nothing. It comprises of the study of what happens at the intersection of computing tools with cultural artifacts of all kinds, and how these common tools may be used to make new knowledge from our cultural inheritance and from the contemporary world. So basically, it is all about application of computer-based methods for the humanities. So on some occasion, if you talk about various experts who have talked about definitions on digital humanities, there are several definitions available. Some of the definitions which I have selected are like digital humanities is born of the encounter between traditional humanities and computational methods. This is the NA's definition. Then further, Drucker has given a definition. Digital humanities work at the intersection of digital technology and humanity disciplines. Digital humanity is less a unified field than array of convergent practices that explore a universe in which print is no longer the primary medium in which knowledge is produced and disseminated. This is something very, very important in present context. Like, we are in a digital age, and we have everything is born digital, starting from our day when we have a mobile phone in our hand till we go to the bed. Every activity has somewhere something linked with the technology, and in this context, uh, research in humanities is also become very integral part of using computer technologies. So you can refer it as a computing. Basically, digital humanities we are talking is about digitization, about digital archiving, about digital libraries, about using e-research, and also using various kind of digital tools in humanities, research in humanities. So contain a large number of uh, activities in its fold. And the most important thing is that application of all digital technology tools and technologies in doing academic activities or research activities become part of digital humanities. Uh, it is not something new because if you see the entire history of digital humanities, it has been there quite a long with different names and nomenclature terminologies used from time to time. Like in 1949, when Father Roberto Busa began his index of every word in the works of St. Thomas, uh, and then in 1966, there is a Computers and Humanities founded. Then in 78, founding of the Association of Computers and the Humanities. In 1985, the PERSIS project began at Harvard University, and in 1996, first draft of XML specification released. Then in 2016, National this NEG Office of Digital Humanities was created, and in Stanford in 2011, and DS 2011 was started. So if you see this entire spectrum, the various concept digital humanities take in its fold, uh, it deals with uh, various kind of conceptual debates, digital culture, digital artifacts, computational technologies, transdisciplinary engagement in humanities, socio-economic position in terms of digital art and digital artifacts, various kind of data mining concept, digital aesthetics, digital curation, digital preservation. So all these things are quite related, or are maybe considered various concepts when we talk about digital humanities. If you talk about mapping digital humanities, so there are a number of subjects which are considered part of digital humanities. In this, you can consider various kind of media studies, media arts, literary studies. All this are very much part of uh, uh, digital humanities. There are certain subjects which we say maybe digital humanity may not be, like library information science is also a part of digital humanities, and anthropology, archaeology, sociology, anthropology, archaeology are absolutely part of it. But sometimes information, political science, sociology and geography, certain subjects which are near to social sciences and humanities, because we are in an interdisciplinary world, so maybe consider humanities. uh, of course, science, engineering, and computer science, pure computer science is not uh, considered humanities, digital humanities. So when we talk about various components of digital humanities, it includes data and databases. It includes various kind of classification system used in data and theories, ontology in metadata, semantics for information retrieval, information visualization, data mining and analysis, cultural analytics, and various kind of GIS and mapping, cultural mapping. So in this context, these tools, which are very directly connected with humanities, are information retrieval tools, which is also part of part of library information science, data visualization, statics, and data mining. So these are all interrelated. And when we talk about various kind of methods used in digital humanities, data capture, which is very important for research, then data mining, data analysis, text encoding, text analysis, data structuring, all this used in various kind of digital humanity projects. Some of the digital humanity project which are very popular and they are using various kind of working methods in this like some of this I have pointed out, I have noted down: online writing and blogging, open annotation, text analysis and data mining, digital exhibitions, digital mapping, GIS mapping, and link data, photogrammetry, visual board, 3D, even augmented realities and virtual reality, they are also part of this. And there are a number of tools developed by various professionals and professional associations and institutions. Some of the tools I have listed here, like Wordle, Wine Tools, Mallet, WordStat, JMP, Nibebo, and SEO tools. There are a number of exhibition platform, digital exhibition platform, which you can use in various applications of virtual exhibitions and other humanities applications: Omeka, Knitline, Scalar, DH Press, and ViewShare. So most of these digital humanity tools are free and are have been developed by the communities. Like Omeka is a free, flexible, and open source web publishing platform for the display of library, museum, archives, and scholarly collection and exhibition. Drupal is a very well known content management system. It is also used for developing websites and blogs, and like when I was in GNU, I personally developed the took help from the expert in developing the website of GNU using Drupal. Support is a gateway to free online tools for subsidiary text analysis. Voyant is a web-based text analytical tools. There are a number of commercial tools also, like Oxygen and Wordsmith. Uh, there is Oxygen is a cross-platform. It is also an XML editor. Wordsmith allows users to develop concordance, find keywords, and develop in this entire digital humanity. Metadata standards play a very important role, because in information retrieval and access to the resources, metadata standards are both important for both searching as well as searching for full text as well as metadata in terms of bibliographic data. So in this context, there are a number of already designed international standards. Libraries very well know Dublin Core and link data, and also those who are engaged in digital preservation, they are familiar with premise and other like EAD and BRA code. RDF is also very popular. So in this digital humanities, when you are creating any kind of database or you are accessing any kind of database, these metadata standards and metadata play a very important role. There are a number of data visualization tools available, both free and commercial. I have listed those tools like Carto, D3, commercial, commercial, and Program. All these tools are available for data visualization. Data visualization has become a very important topic.
Excuse me, sir. Your voice is not audible.
Hello. Can you confirm? Can you hear now?
Yes, sir. Now it's audible.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Go
So
ahead.
there is kind of data visualization tools are also available, and data visualization is very, very important in particularly in research data management. And in modern days, research is a lot about visualization. And when we talk about the new education policy of India and also the ongoing research all over the world, there's a lot of focus on data visualization. Number of web publishing tools required for used. Many of you are already using some of these tools, but I'm just giving you this. This is also considered part of digital humanities. Uh, these are the data mining tools. Most of these tools are available. Details are available on internet. I don't want to take more time because we are already running late from the schedule. And in this context, it is important that I can share this PPT to all of you to note it down all these tools. I don't want to go more into the details about each and every tool because all these are available on the website on internet. Then various kind of toolboxes, registries, crawlers, and other details required for this purpose. In India, this is still a very new concept. I have not come across except IIT Jodhpur. Uh, there are very few institutions who have some formal training and kind of education on digital humanities. But there are a number of international projects going on. So I have listed some of the projects that can help you in understanding more about this concept of digital humanities. So I will share this PPT with the organizers, which anybody can use it. So these are the some of the projects I have listed in this context to make you more aware of. Like 18th century project is a search portal which is available. It's a kind of peer review project and a lot of community work involvement in that. And there are a number of other projects I have listed. So you can go through that. Now, when we talk about using digital technologies to facilitate various kind of networking, because networking is a strong part of digital humanities. It may be social networking, it may be research network like Research Gateway, Gate or Academia, Faculty 1000 and other microblogging, blogs, free phone call like WhatsApp and other things. So this all the digital technology for networking is also part of a digital community network because it saves a lot of time. It also help in enhancing the visibility, enhancing sharing your ideas and thoughts, uh, and also developing a good research profile. So in this context, I think these technologies are also part of digital humanities. What are the basic digital humanity goals? Because digital humanities encourages innovations in digital humanities through research that brings new approach or documents best practices, creation of digital tools for preserving, analyzing, and making accessible digital resources, and examination of the philosophical implication and impact of emerging technology. So DH goals are to enhance the flexibility, enhance the use of technology, and also to enhance the sharing of the knowledge and making it accessible for the more advanced goal of betterment of the humanities. That's the reason that technology is there to help you in that context. So now coming to the next concept, which we are talking about, digital libraries. Like all library professional, very much familiar with digital libraries. Digital libraries are basically providing the access to the electronic resources either on net or intranet or
नाही नाही नंतरही भेटणार आहे ना 2013 पासून लागू केली.
Mustaq Ahmed, please mute your mic. So many of these people are who
Yes,
have
sir.
libraries.
I did it. Go ahead.
So many participants attending this from the library know what is digital library. I'm not going to speak about digital library. I just try to give you a difference between digital library and digital humanities. Digital library may be considered part of digital humanities in a one sense. But although there is a difference between digital library and digital humanities, like in terms of the digital library is a basically kind of organizational approach where a group of collections or a group of material is being organized, collected, or digitized and organized. But here in digital humanity, it is an individualistic approach. A research scholar or any individual is focusing on various activities. Digital library is both born digital as well as digital conversion. And digital humanity is more about digital libraries are converting or uploading the material which has already been created in born digital form or available in print form. Other way, in digital humanities, somebody is gathering the new data, new research is being done. And in digital library, it's all about curation and management, preserving it for the posterity, making it accessible to the larger goal. Access and delivery is our larger goal. But in digital humanities, it is all about analyzing the data, gathered data, collected data, using various kind of tools. And there are a lot of copyright and other issues involved in digital libraries. When we talk about digital humanities, digital humanities is all about working in a group or in single. It's more about workspaces. Digital library may have primary and source data, but digital humanities is always generating new data. That's a primary data only. Digital library is about reuse, use, share of the existing knowledge and information. Digital humanities basically focus on project, and there is a lot of continuity and a lot of scholarly communications are part of digital libraries. Digital humanities is all about coming out with a new data set or helping the collected data and bringing out a publication, maybe an article or maybe a research report or something like that. So I hope I'm able to give you some understanding the difference between digital library and digital communities. Digital resources are considered part of, I think, digital libraries, and that leads to, like, both the activities leads to e-scholarship, like e-research. So when we use the resources created under digital humanities or in digital library, it leads to the new research, and it, 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 it this both the collections, both the activities are part of e-scholarship. And in this context, I think I would like to also bring to your attention, like this digital humanity has major role in terms of cultural heritage. And in this culture, because so far, if you see most of the programs, project, activities are directly related to cultural heritage only, because that's a major area of digital humanities where uh, museum, libraries, and information industry, archives, and they contain a lot of information which is being converted, and uh, that leads to open culture data. And open culture data is a very important concept, and need to be looked into that. So in e-scholarship, particularly in terms of cultural heritage, open culture data has a lot of significance. And why this open culture data is important? Because culture is a human right, and cultural resources belongs to the humanity, means to the entire world. And culture and society are very much integrated. And culture is not just important for traditions; it is important for development. Like our prime minister recently say that uh, development and heritage. He used two words, virasat and vikas. Both virasat and vikas. When we talk about culture, heritage, and the development, they are quite interrelated to each other. So, and culture is also a base for creativity. It includes linguistic diversity. So this is the one area in digital humanities which require a lot of attention. And I think the people who are working on cultural studies, media studies, the institutions or the researcher, or they need to really focus on this, because this is the area totally neglected in India, and a lot of work needs to be done. And why we should do it? Because this culture is required uh, for audience, for the research, for the reference, for the updating knowledge, to transfer the knowledge from one generation to another generation, and also to know about your country, about your culture. अगर भारतीय संस्कृति को जानना है तो कल्चर रिसोर्सेज को देखना होगा, उनको पढ़ना होगा, तभी आप जान सकते हैं. So in this context, I think this is the one area which I'm trying to highlight more, because digital humanity, this is the most important component of digital humanities, and our institutions and universities and colleges and researchers should work together to make open access to cultural heritage contents. And in terms of e-scholarship, e-research is a very important component, where e-research is similar like application of ICT in research. So here it is a narrow sense. There we are talking about broader application of ICT in humanities. Here we are talking a particular concept, that is an activity that is in research. So in this context, I think here in the library play a very important role in creating e-research literacy among the research scholars. So this is the another very important component of digital humanity, the e-scholarship, where this kind of awareness is to be created. I will not take more time because I also have some engagement, and also I know all of you were very keen to now for conclusions. So I just not as something expert talk or it's kind of presentation. I'm also trying to learn about digital humanities. My base, I could have spoke this conference on libraries. I decided.
Sir, you are not audible, sir.
So basic
Yes.
purpose of my talk is to create an awareness on this very important concept of digital humanities, because India is a country with vast cultural diversity as well as linguistic diversity. And I think we all should try to identify the various areas of applications of digital humanities in various aspects. So in this context, I have tried to give this my understanding of digital humanity. It may be very big basics or very beginners kind of thing, but I hope that this may help in knowing more about this, because digital humanities is a new space of interdisciplinary research, scholarship, and practice with several possibilities for thinking about the nature of the intersection of the humanities and technology. Introducing courses at UG and PG levels in digital humanities aligned with disciplines like media studies, software, internet studies, archival studies, language, linguistic, or digital cultural studies in India. Introduction of program on application of AR, BR, MR, and various immersive tools and technology to libraries, museums, monuments, and archives in India may lead to a new areas of research, and also creating new avenues for the scholars. So I think these are my thoughts, and these are some references and my email IDs. Thanks, organizer, for giving me this opportunity and inviting me for this wonderful program. I wish all the very best, and thank you again. I will stop sharing, and I will be happy to take up any question or any clarification or query if it is required. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It was a real proud moment for all of us to listen to you, sir. And your presence made a difference. Sir, you shared your expertise on digital humanities. We are truly enriched by your talk. Your talk made us think of using different digital tools in humanities. Thank you so much, sir. A small announcement for all our eager presenters waiting there who will be presenting their research paper after a 10 minutes break. Kindly note that there will be a subject-wise presentation, paper presentation after the formal vote of thanks. And kindly note that the subject-wise Zoom meeting As per the meeting ID and passwords are shared separately with all the different subjects. Now let us conclude a memorable, knowledgeable event. To express a word of appreciation and gratitude, I would like to invite Ms. Saili Kavale to propose vote of thanks. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, one and all the respected dignitaries and participants present on the online platform for the present international multidisciplinary e-conference on contemporary trends, humanities, commerce, and library science, jointly organized by Faculty of Humanities, Knowledge Resource Center, and IQSC of Mahatma Phule ASC College, Panvel, District Raigad, Maharashtra. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks and acknowledge our deep sense of gratitude towards all for those who contributed for the successful organization of this e-conference. At the outset, I express my deep sense of gratitude towards keynote speaker of today's international e-conference, Honorable Professor Audrey Holt, Madam, co-chair of the LAS Curriculum Committee, Santa Fe College, Florida, USA, for her kind acceptance of our invitation as the keynote speaker and bless the occasion with her several keynote address. Thank you so much, madam, for your valuable time and scholarly talk. I'm so thankful to our resource person, Honorable Professor Loida Garcia Febo, madam, who joined us virtually all the way from New York, USA, and enlightened the August gathering with her scholarly talk on the field of library and information science. Your expertise in the field will surely help all the participants to adopt innovations and work accordingly. Thank you so much, madam, for your benevolence, kind support, and scholarly talk as the resource person of this conference. I am also thankful to the resource person of this conference, Honorable Professor Dr. Rajneesh Ratna, Gedu College of Business Studies, Gedu, Bhutan. Sir, you accepted our invitation as the resource person and blessed the conference with your expertise. Thank you so much, sir. We look forward for your contribution in future as well. I also take this opportunity to extend my sincere thanks to Professor Dr. Ramesh Gaur, sir, Dean and Head, Kalanidhi Division, IGNCA, New Delhi, India, for his contribution as the resource person and addressing the current trends in the field of commerce during this e-conference. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and expertise. I sincerely put on record my gratefulness to our dynamic, visionary, and resourceful principal, Honorable Dr. Ganesh Thakur Sahib, for his motivation, constant support, and timely guidance in chalking out all the formalities of the conference. Thank you so much, Sahib. It's your support and faith in our abilities that encourage us to conduct such academic activities and transform them into a grand success. I must appreciate and mention involvement of the participants from various parts of the world for their overwhelming response of the conference. We have received more than 600 registrations and around 113 research papers from different disciplines. I am grateful to all the participants present online who made the conference a happening reality. I am very much thankful to Vice Principal of our college, Professor Dr. N.R. Madvi, Dr. R.A. Patil, Mr. A.J. Rokde, all head of departments, IQSC coordinator, Mr. S.L. Gove, librarian, Mr. S.S. Auchite, Dr. Girish Gun, Dr. Leena Meshram, teaching fraternity and technical team for their constant efforts to make the conference a grand success. With this, I take your leave. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you once again.
Thank you, everyone. We will now meet in a separate, using separate IDs and password with the respective subject for the next paper presentation with a very small 10 minutes break. Thank you so much, everybody.